It is my responsibility as a content creator to respect the people who subscribe to my channel, who follow me on other platforms, because there's very few of you, but I still respect the hell out of you for your support. And the reason you subscribe to me for some ungodly reason is because you want to know what I've got to say about DC movies and TV, about scripted entertainment, and the few times I talk about Manchester United, which is not very often, and there's not much interest on this channel for that, but I'm a Manchester United fan as well, and sometimes I do videos about the club that I love. So the few of you that support me because you respect my opinion. You may not always agree with me, and it's not about aligning with another person's opinion. I don't want an echo chamber, I never did. But you respect, at the very least, what I have to say. And you know I respect the hell out of what you guys and gals think as well. So we have a good little relationship. It's my responsibility as your content creator to be honest with you, not to try and go viral, use you to go viral. That's wrong. We see the big accounts. We see what they do all the time. That's not what I and Movies TV Mad is about. It's about taking what's going on in the DC universe, in scripted entertainment, and me giving you my honest, heartfelt opinion on it. That's my responsibility as your content creator. Since July 2018, when we launched this channel, since now, I can put my hand on my heart and always say that I've been honest with you. And when I have felt that I've been wrong about something, I've admitted it. For example, when Ray Fisher was exposing WB, Joss Whedon and Walter Hamada, I wasn't very happy with him. And I came onto my channel on pre-recorded videos and lives and spoke against what Ray Fisher was doing, because he was ruining my excitement for the Snyder Cut. He was ruining my excitement for the new Hamadaverse, the Flash movie, the reboot that Hamada was doing, because I was all for it. They announced Supergirl. It was an exciting time. I thought we were heading for a new, exciting direction, and I felt, even though they dispersed with Snyder's services, a man I have so much love and respect for as a creative and as a person. But now I can tell you I was wrong with my attitude towards Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher was right to out WB, and I was wrong for saying he was wrong for speaking out. I took a selfish stance because I wanted to look forward to the future of the DCEU, when he was right all along. Where is the DCEU? Where is that future I was looking forward to? Dead as a fucking dodo. So Ray Fisher was right, and I was wrong. That's not being a flip-flop. That's a man being comfortable in his own skin and being comfortable and honest enough, and someone who can trust his subscribers and his viewers enough to understand that someone's big enough and bold enough to say, I was wrong. I've been wrong many times in my life. I've been wrong many times on this platform. It's okay to be wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. Never be that person that cements yourself with a position and never changes it, even when you know that you're wrong. On today's show, I want to talk about Creature Commandos. I nearly said the Suicide Squad. My mind was stuck in neutral there. It happens, right? So yeah, I want to discuss Creature Commandos. I want to discuss whether it's been a success or a failure. And I want to ask that big Doctor Who question, with rumours that the second season, which is not a second fucking season, it's the second season of RTD2, was always going to be the ending of this amazing revival. It hasn't always been amazing, but it's been an amazing journey. Did Russell T Davies come into it knowing that this 2-year deal with Disney would be the final 2 years of the existence of this Doctor Who revival? I think we know the answer to that question, but we'll discuss it. So, has Creature Commandos been a success or a failure? Here's the truth I was just talking about. This is how I am. This is how I roll. This is how I drive my content creation car. Creature Commandos has neither been a success or a failure. That's not a very exciting thing to say, you see. I could easily say something dramatic to go viral, but that's not who I am. I probably have never gone viral because I'm not a good content creator. I don't edit my videos. I'm very lazy. I don't brag. I don't, advertise or anything like that. I think it's a waste of money. And I'm not here to make money. I'm here to speak about my passion for entertainment and give you my views. This is why you're here. You want to hear what I've got to say. So I believe that Creature Commandos has neither been a success or a failure. It's more of the same from New Hollywood. It's disposable entertainment. Believe it or not, I sniffed the disposable entertainment culture a long time ago, even before 2016 and 2015, when things really started to go north in scripted entertainment. I noticed in the early noughties that we were getting a lot of bland movies. There was a reason for that, disposable movies, because all the talented people came over to television. They were starting to make things like Lost and 24 and Prison Break, etc., etc., etc. So TV was beginning to be more like movies than TV, but because all the good people had left movies, we were getting blander movies, with the exception of the Lord of the Rings, movies, and, Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy and a few other half-decent movies. But the movies in between were so bland and disposable. So I noticed that then, and this is what Creature Commandos is. It's just disposable entertainment. Once you've seen it once, that's it. It's very interesting. We can ask the question, is the Penguin series on HBO, on Max, disposable entertainment? The truth is, I'm never going to go back and re-watch that. I'm actually re-watching the final season of Smallville right now. I've been re-watching Smallville for so many years because it's not disposable entertainment. Smallville was an insane show. It had a pre-Superman Clark Kent fighting people like Brainiac, Doomsday, Deathstroke, so many different, the Furies. I saw an episode where Clark was fighting the Furies, all before he puts on the costume. It's a mad, amazing, unique show, and I love it. Yes, and it's better than Superman and Lois. Sorry, Superman and Lois Stones, I'm going to say that every day, because you keep on going on my feed saying that Superman and Lois is the bestest thing ever. And I know I said this yesterday, and that Tyler Hoechlin is the best Superman. He's not. To you he is, but universally he's not. Reeve will always be the greatest Superman. Superman 78 and Smallville stand either side of each other as the greatest things ever done in Superman adaptations, and maybe in comic book live action adaptations as well. So don't get it twisted. Creature Commandos is not like that. Creature Commandos is disposable entertainment. Even the animation isn't that great. It's cheap animation. But when I finally watch it properly, I've seen so many clips, as you know, I'll probably think it's okay. Just okay. But because Max isn't available readily in every country around the world like Netflix, it only really matters in terms of viewership how Creature Commandos does on Max in America. And on Max in America, I think June is number 1. June 2 is number 1. And I think Creature Commandos is number 2 and number 3. That's on its launch week. So there's absolutely no chance the same amount of people who came in to watch the first 2 episodes, and I think some people dropped off on the second episode, will be back for the third episode. So it's never probably going to have an episode number 1 on Max in America, and that tells you something else. But because verified critics collude with each other and decide what's going to be verified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes and what isn't, James Gunn, when he has a streaming show, anyone who has a streaming show, is under the protection banner because there's no box office to measure it to. And it's true. These critics, these verified critics, collude with each other and decide what to make fresh and rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. This is why Rotten Tomatoes and this metric system is corrupt. And you shouldn't be judging the kind of consumption in scripted entertainment that you do on metric systems, because they are utterly corrupt. The audience scores are utterly corrupt. We know what happens. We know what people do when they don't like something. They vote it down, and verified critics do the same. Verified critics are just as bad as the audiences today. So metric scores have absolutely no validity to them. I've invalidated them. Not because I'm a big deal or I've got the power to invalidate them, it's because it's true. They're corrupt. Verified critics are corrupt and can't be trusted. And even if we conclude that verified critics aren't corrupt, they judge movies and scripted entertainment on the wrong parameters. Was there enough representation? What kind of hair did she have? Blah, 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 blah. Some of the nonsense you see them say in their reviews and how they judge scripted entertainment. It's insane. But these people cannot be trusted, right? You know, many people, my subscribers, followers on different platforms, say, Mick, do you trust James Gunn? I respect James Gunn as a competent writer-director, but I don't even trust myself. I don't trust anyone. I'm a bit like Agent Mulder from the X-Files. Trust no one. I can't believe they're rebooting the iconic show. No one's going to be interested in an X-Files reboot. X-Files was successful when it was because it was a time of, you know, people buying on DVD fake or alien autopsies. There was a fascination with UFO sightings. The only person who can make great X-Files is Chris Carter. He was a genius, and people can bore on about the revival or certain episodes of the original series they didn't like, and seasons. The only person who has the secret ingredient to make X-Files successful is Chris Carter. Leave it alone. Let it die. It's had 9, 10, 11, whatever seasons, a couple of movies. It did its thing. Go out there and be fucking original, you fucking hacks. So anyway, I don't trust James Gunn. I don't. As I say, I like his comic book movies. I enjoyed Peacemaker, but I don't trust him. But you know what's beautiful about this James Gunn situation? That July will tell us everything we need to know. In July, we'll find out if he's made a great Superman movie. In July, we'll find out if we've all been wrong for calling him a one-trick pony. We'll find out if he's capable of writing and directing a great Superman movie, a movie that's hidden, a movie we know very little about, a movie we still haven't seen a trailer for. Well under a year till its release. What is it, 8 months now? 7, 6, no, not 6, 7, 8 months until the release of James Gunn's Superman. One poster, a costume reveal, and that's it. And that's the costume reveal was not the set pictures, which they let us have anyway, let's be honest about it, but it was that awful picture of him standing with Volume being the background. I hate Volume. Let me get it out there. I hate Volume. Simple as that. I think it's an awful piece of technology and it's lazy and I don't fucking like it. Right? End of story. So Creature Commandos hasn't succeeded. It hasn't failed. It's just there. And that's the thing, right? First Iron Man movie for the MCU, the first MCU movie, was a roaring success in the box office. And the box office is where James Gunn is going to be judged. A little update for you, if you're an MCU fan, apparently Chris Evans is returning to the MCU. But what is he returning as? Is he returning as Cap? Somebody else? We just don't know. What do I think about this? It's desperate. Just like the Robert Downey Jr. return, which is creative and interesting, but it's all desperate because they burnt down what they built and they're trying to rebuild it by bringing back the people that you and me like, and we'll see how that works out for them. The Russos are back. The Russos are very talented. They're capable of making a couple of great Avengers movies. we will see how that works out. Now, away from DC and away from James Gunn, we are building up to the latest Doctor Who Christmas special. So very, very, very interesting. Again, Russell T Davies causing controversy and saying he doesn't know if there's going to be a season 3 of Doctor Who. We spoke about this the other day, but I want to talk about this more. When Russell T Davies agreed to come back, did he know that he was going to shepherd the final 2 years of the Doctor Who revival? I believe so. I can't prove that, but this is a man for years after he left said he wouldn't be seen dead working on Doctor Who again. When he and, there was this Radio Times thing and Stephen Moffat and Russell T Davies were being questioned. Russell was asked if he ever thinks of Doctor Who stories now he's left the show. No. And Stephen Moffat was asked and he said yes. And that kind of, to me, told me something about Davies and Moffat. It told me that Moffat is a genuine Doctor Who fan. He really does love Doctor Who to this day. And Russell T Davies, I think, just fell in, he's a bit of a businessman. He's a bit of an opportunist. He's a genius. There wasn't a bigger Russell T Davies simp than me during his, his original run. He brought back Doctor Who so wonderfully well. I keep on saying this. We can't rewrite history and say the man was rubbish. What he did was amazing. He put Doctor Who back on the map. It was, it was a cult thing before, wasn't it? It had a smaller fandom. And then we had the movie, which I think was fantastic, warts and all. And then the show came back. I love the Moffat era, warts and all. Nothing's perfect made by human hands, but the original RTD era and the Moffat era were fantastic Doctor Who that deserve to be celebrated. There's good, there's bad, there's indifferent, but all in all, those two eras were outstanding, if you ask me. But I think RTD knew that this was the end, and this is why he was coming after people. He was coming after people who attacked Chris Chibnall. It's why he stuck with the Timeless Children thing, because he doesn't care. I'm sure that the BBC were going to cancel Doctor Who before he decided to come back. They decided to do one last Doctor Who deal. But is Davies just saying he doesn't know about season 3 to make people want to watch it again so it doesn't get cancelled? That will be very interesting, but I don't think the fans that hate Doctor Who now, and I mean hate it, are coming back to support it. Because I think the hardcore Doctor Who fandom believe it's time for Doctor Who to have a rest. It's time for Doctor Who to end. I think there's a belief in that. And for me, look, it's something, I love Doctor Who. In my dreams about running Doctor Who and playing the Doctor, I'm a huge fan. I was a huge fan from when I first saw it as a kid when Peter Davison took on the reins of the TARDIS. And I love the movie and I love the revival as well. That's my knowledge and fandom of Doctor Who. And I love the Hartnell era. I went back and I obviously watched the original era. I've never seen the Troughton eras or the Pertwee eras or the Baker eras. I've seen bits and pieces, but I haven't gone back to see that. But I love Doctor Who. And I will cry a tear if it doesn't have a third season. But I didn't enjoy the not-so-specials. I didn't enjoy the so-called celebration of the 60th anniversary because it wasn't a celebration. They knew they had to pretend to celebrate the 60th. But Disney didn't want to celebrate Doctor Who's past. This is why it's called Season 1. This is why it's called Season 2. And if we get a third season, that's why it's called Season 3. Interestingly, Russell T Davies is doing this spin-off, Beyond the Land and Sea, which is very interesting. So could that be the future of Doctor Who? A few spin-offs, but not the main Doctor Who show. Maybe we'll just get Christmas specials of Doctor Who and anniversary specials going forward. Could that be a thing? Would that be something, as a Doctor Who fan, you would be interested in? Would that be better? Well, look, if you're going to make bad Doctor Who, it doesn't matter if you only see him once a year and the episode is bad, right? And it's made on the current day parameters. It doesn't really matter if you see him once a week or once a year if it's crap. You've still got to make great Doctor Who. But it's interesting that this spin-off's happening, because surely we won't see this spin-off till after Series 2 airs. Now, I'm assuming Series 2 will come back around the same time of March and April. Now, something we haven't discussed yet is they're not going to put Doctor Who on any longer from midnight on the iPlayer. I'm not sure what they're doing on Disney+, but on the iPlayer it won't be available from midnight, or certainly not the Christmas episode. I think what's clear is that didn't work out because basically I think they were trying to create a situation and it didn't help. They were trying to do it because it was going to be on Disney from that time as well. This is the problem with the Disney thing. This is the problem with streaming itself. But the BBC and ITV are certainly trying to replace live television with ITVX and the iPlayer. They're certainly doing that. You can now watch episodes from EastEnders online before you see them live on the telly. I think that's disgusting. And now they're doing the same on ITVX with Coronation Street. I support physical media, I support live television, and I would never ever watch something on a streaming service if I could watch it on live television. I don't care if I have to watch ads, I don't care how it's done. I support live TV, physical media, and movie theatres, because that's the natural order of things and that's better for entertainment. As far as I'm concerned, I would never watch anything that's made with an inch of artificial intelligence. That's where I stand on those things, if you ever wondered. So it could be that Russell T Davies absolutely knew that Doctor Who was going to end after these 2 years. Maybe Russell wanted, as the guy who brought the show back, wanted to give it a definitive ending as he reached the end of his second year. As I said the other day, it's dumb that we're calling them Season 2 and Season 1, right? If you wanted to do a reboot, again, as I said the other day, just do a reboot. You could have rebooted it and called it Season 1, but it's not Season 1. It's either, you're either talking Season 14 for last year or Season 40, I think. And, my maths has never been my strongest suit, so please don't get upset with me if it's not Season 14. But it's either Season 40 or Season 14. And then now I think obviously we'll be approaching Season 41 and Series 15. You can't say Seasons 1, 2 and 3 because Doctor Who's been around for years. It's part of the same continuity. You were name dropping Susan. You were name dropping Susan. How can it be Season 2? 1. When you're name dropping Susan, when you were using that, what is it, the Emperor of Death or whatever those finales were called, when you were using an old enemy from classic Who. It can't be Season 2 and 3 when you're doing things like that. It's dumb. It makes you look dumb because basically you want to move away from Doctor Who's history because you think it's problematic. So we could be seeing the end of Doctor Who. And as I say, I'm not one of these hardcore Doctor Who fans that's going, yeah, that's a good thing, R.I.P. Doctor Who. Because I don't think it's as simple as that. Because the revival, as I say, was utterly special originally under Davies and Moffat. And for me, it will be very sad to see it go. Imagine they're more comfortable with potentially ending Doctor Who than making it the great show it used to be in the early revival. That's twisted, isn't it? They'd rather let it die than actually make great Doctor Who. Because I suppose because as I said earlier, with James Gunn and New Hollywood, modern day entertainment cannot be the adults in the room. They should be the adults in the room. Us, the fans, the consumers, we're the children, right? You pat us on the head and go, there, we get it. You don't mean what you're saying, you're passionate, right? You're speaking in the heat of the moment. You're supposed to be the adults in the room, but they can't be the adults in the room. So it was a bit like Torchwood Miracle Day because so many people hated it. RTD spat his dummy out and said, right, no more Torchwood because you didn't stroke my ego and love it and come in and watch it, you know, and give me record viewings and make me loads of money because he did the deal with the devil. He did a deal with an American network. They all did, the BBC, Bad Wolf. It was, in fact, all very, very corrupt. I don't think Torchwood Miracle Day was all bad, but they Americanized it. They forced all these characters, the Esther character, they tried to show how great Esther was and all that. And, you know, they were taking us away from Captain Jack and Gwen, what the show originally was. They killed off all those great characters, which I think was a mistake. As emotionally impactful as killing off, you know, all those characters, the original characters was, it's a bit like killing off Rita in Dexter. Yeah, it's a shocker. It's shocking and compelling. But then when you come back, you realise that Rita was actually the heart of the show. She gave Dexter balance. She gave the show Dexter balance. And without her, they were trying to, you know, find the perfect woman for Dexter. And there was no perfect woman for Dexter. Rita was perfect, as he said in the pilot, because of who she was. And she was a brilliant character played by an exceptional actor as well. And it's the same with Torchwood. But when we look back, you know, I think, as I say, the revival's nearly been around for 20 years. Next year, RTD was asked if there'll be a celebration for the anniversary of the revival. He said no. So he doesn't even want to celebrate his revival because they deemed that as problematic. Because when you go back to Doctor Who and the original revival, it's got, let's say, it's not made on current day parameters, right? And that's why they're ashamed of that as well. So yeah, let's not get it twisted. Not only are they ashamed of classic Who, they're ashamed of RTD1 and the Moffat era as well, because that isn't deemed as, you know, right on enough. So it's all very, very interesting. So look, we could discuss this till we're blue in the face. Look, from the outside looking in, it does look like that Series 2 will be the final series. And as I say, I think it's utterly pathetic that they'd rather end the show than make it a great show. Now, if I had connections and influences, if I knew they were letting go of this, if RTD was letting go of Doctor Who, I'd be in on the BBC and I'd be petitioning and pitching my concept for Doctor Who. My idea of not just having an epic TV show, but making Doctor Who movies every 3 years with different A-listers playing the Doctor, totally separate from the TV show. You know, and what you can do is you can set up a Doctor Who multiverse. You can look. There's so many things you can do. Look. Listen. I'd have to sit down and think about it so it made sense, so it wasn't dumb, that I wasn't upsetting the fans, because I am a fan. I'm one of you, ain't I? If I'm going to make Doctor Who, I'm making it not just for me, but for all of you. That's the problem with RTD, Moffat, and Chibnall, and Gatiss to a lesser extent, that these were fans, talented fans that came in to make Doctor Who. They loved it. They were us. They had connections. They were able to make Doctor Who. But success creates arrogance and ego and hubris. And all of a sudden, when they first started making Doctor Who, they were making it not just for them, but for us. But the more powerful and successful they became, they started making it for themselves, and they started making it for the message. And this is where we are today. So they can't hide the fact that they hate us. It's sad. As I say, they can't be the adults in the room. So we have a situation where instead of saying, you know what, the fans are right, let's go back to making Doctor Who awesome again. But you know what's really funny, and I've said this a billion times, the first female Doctor starring Jodie Whittaker could have actually been great Doctor Who. Why wasn't it? Because they decided not to make it. Great. So they sunk the opportunity of the first female Doctor being the greatest Doctor ever. Chris Chibnall, you could have done that, but you decided not to. Then Russell T Davies cast the first full-time black male Doctor Who. He could have been one of the best doctors ever. Ncuti Gatwa has got a big personality. You know, whether you like him or not, whether you agree with him being cast or not, you can see the lad's got a big personality. We even saw some of that in his first appearance. His first appearance has been his best appearance yet. That had a lot of energy to it, and I liked it, but it's been downhill since then. Ncuti could have been a great doctor. Maybe he will be a better doctor in series 2, although the Christmas special, he's crying again. I don't really have any issue with a male crying. I cry a lot. You know, I like showing my emotions, and that's okay. But I think it's something that fans have said they don't particularly care for. So when you know that, you don't do it all the more. But there you go. That's the entertainment industry. So if it does end, I think we do have to do a huge bunch of videos looking back at the revival and how amazing. Let's not get it twisted. This revival, the first 2 eras under RTD and Moffat, were amazing. We need to celebrate the music of Murray Gold. The thing is with Murray Gold, he's been criticised lately for not being as good as he used to be. The problem with Murray Gold is he set such a high bar that he couldn't keep it to that level. No one could. It was impossible. And the lower the show delivered, the more the show didn't deliver, the less inspired Murray seems to be to create those huge, iconic themes he did in the RTD era, the original RTD era, and the Moffat era, and you can tell that. And then he wasn't involved in the Chibnall era, and he's come back, and even now his themes are not as iconic as they were. But Murray set himself such a high bar that he could never reach it. And I think it's RTD. RTD would never be able to reach the bar he set in that original era. When you're making entertainment on today's parameters, it simply doesn't work. But if you're asking me if I think if Doctor Who's going to finish, it does look like that this upcoming season will be the last. That this spin-off will be the last thing. I hope it's not true. I hope they find a way around this. I don't think Disney will come back. I don't think ratings are going to be good. Unless this is such a great epic season of Doctor Who, then Doctor Who can continue. I don't want Doctor Who to continue, first and foremost, under Disney. I want them to find somebody else, right, who don't want to make entertainment under the parameters that Disney do. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.